when distance becomes louder than arguments, and when walking away says everything you refused to say out loud. Most people believe power comes from proving a point, winning the argument, or forcing someone to understand their value. But the Stoics taught something very different. They understood that true power appears the moment you stop chasing validation and start protecting your peace. Think about it: when someone disrespects you, manipulates you, or takes your presence for granted, they expect you to react. They expect you to argue, to beg for explanation, or to stay around trying to fix something that was never broken in the first place. Your reaction feeds their ego. Your attention becomes their fuel. But something strange happens when you calmly walk away. In this video, we will explore why walking away is one of the most powerful Stoic moves you can make. You will discover how silence destroys manipulation, why emotional detachment confuses toxic people, and why the moment you stop chasing is the moment your value becomes undeniable. And if you want to develop the calm confidence, discipline, and emotional strength that Stoicism teaches, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Here, we explore the timeless wisdom that helps you master your mind and dominate your life. Now let's begin. 1. Walking away removes their control. Many people don't realize that control in relationships often comes from emotional reactions. When someone knows they can upset you, provoke you, or manipulate your feelings, they gain a subtle form of power over you. They learn your emotional buttons and press them whenever they want a reaction. The Stoics understood that the person who controls their emotions becomes impossible to control. When you stop reacting, the dynamic changes immediately. Suddenly the person who once controlled the situation loses their influence. Walking away is the ultimate form of emotional independence. It tells the other person that your peace is not negotiable. It tells them you refuse to participate in games designed to drain your energy. And most importantly, it shows that your self-respect is stronger than your desire for approval. This is deeply threatening to someone whose ego depended on your reaction. They expected you to chase. They expected you to explain yourself. They expected you to fight for their attention. Instead, they're left with silence. And silence forces them to confront something uncomfortable. They no longer have power over you. When control disappears, ego begins to panic. The person who once believed they were important enough to command your emotional energy suddenly realizes they were never in control at all. That realization is what cracks the ego. Stoicism teaches us that freedom begins the moment we stop giving others the power to disturb our inner peace. Walking away is not weakness. It is a declaration of independence. It is the moment you choose dignity over attachment and self-respect over emotional chaos. 2. Scarcity increases your value. One of the strange realities of human psychology is that people often value what becomes scarce. When something is always available, it is easily taken for granted. But the moment it disappears, its importance suddenly becomes clear. Your presence works the same way. If you are always there, always responding, always forgiving, and always giving attention, some people begin to assume your loyalty is permanent. They stop appreciating your value because they believe you will never leave. Walking away destroys that illusion instantly. Suddenly your absence becomes noticeable. The conversations stop. The attention disappears. The emotional energy they once relied on is gone. And now they must confront a new reality: life without you. The Stoics understood the importance of self-respect and boundaries. They believed that people who refuse to tolerate disrespect naturally become more respected. Your willingness to walk away communicates something powerful. It shows that your time, attention, and emotional investment are privileges, not guarantees. Scarcity forces people to reassess what they once ignored. And when people realize they may have lost something valuable, their ego begins to struggle with regret. 3. Silence creates psychological pressure. Human beings are uncomfortable with unanswered questions. When someone leaves without explaining every detail, the mind automatically begins searching for answers. This psychological pressure is what makes silence so powerful. When you constantly explain yourself, argue your position, or try to make someone understand your value, you remove all mystery. Everything becomes predictable, and predictable things rarely create respect. But silence changes the entire emotional landscape. When you walk away quietly, you create a void. And the human mind hates voids. The person begins replaying conversations in their head, analyzing your behavior, and trying to understand why you suddenly stopped engaging. This mental replay can last for days, weeks, or even months. The Stoics believed that dignity often lies in restraint. Not everything needs to be explained. Not every insult deserves a response. Sometimes the most powerful message is the one left unsaid. Silence forces people to face their own thoughts without your emotional energy distracting them. They are left alone with their assumptions, their mistakes, and their ego, and when someone is left alone with their own conscience, uncomfortable truths begin to surface. Walking away quietly creates a mirror that forces people to look at themselves. That reflection is often far more painful than any argument you could have made. 4. Walking away protects your inner peace. Stoicism teaches that the most valuable thing you possess is not status, approval, or validation. It is your inner peace. Many people sacrifice their peace trying to maintain relationships that constantly drain them. They stay in situations filled with disrespect, manipulation, and emotional chaos simply because they fear letting go. But every moment spent tolerating toxic behavior slowly erodes your dignity. Walking away protects your mental clarity. It removes you from environments where negativity thrives. It prevents constant emotional battles that distract you from your purpose. When you choose peace over attachment, you regain control over your life. And interestingly, this calm confidence often triggers the other person's ego even more. They expected you to suffer without them. They expected you to chase or beg for reconciliation. Instead, they see you thriving. Nothing wounds an inflated ego more than realizing someone is happier without their presence. The Stoics believed we should never allow external people or events to dominate our emotional state. Your peace belongs to you. Walking away is how you reclaim it. 5. Ego depends on validation. An ego grows when it receives constant validation. Attention, praise, emotional reactions, and even arguments can feed someone's sense of importance. When someone knows they can provoke a reaction from you, they feel powerful. This is why some individuals intentionally create conflict. The argument itself is not the goal. The reaction is walking away removes that validation. Suddenly the person who thrived on emotional responses is faced with indifference. And indifference is deeply uncomfortable for someone who expects to be the center of attention. Stoicism teaches emotional detachment. It encourages us to focus our energy only on what we can control, rather than constantly reacting to the behavior of others. When you stop participating in emotional drama, you remove the stage that someone's ego was performing on without an audience. The performance ends. This is why walking away can feel so destabilizing to someone who expected to control the emotional narrative. They lose their spotlight, and without attention, ego begins to shrink. 6. Walking away demonstrates self-respect. Self-respect is one of the most powerful signals a person can communicate without saying a single word. People instinctively observe how you allow others to treat you. Your boundaries teach others what behavior you tolerate. If someone disrespects you and you continue to remain available, they subconsciously learn that disrespect has no consequences. But when you calmly remove yourself from the situation, the message becomes clear. Your dignity is not negotiable. Stoic philosophy emphasizes the importance of living according to personal principles rather than emotional impulses. Walking away from disrespect is not about revenge. It is about alignment with your values. You refuse to participate in relationships that compromise your integrity. That quiet strength often leaves a lasting impression. Even if someone refuses to admit their mistake, they recognize something important. You are not easily manipulated, controlled, or diminished. And people often respect what they cannot control. Walking away transforms you from someone seeking approval into someone who commands respect. 7. Detachment creates curiosity. When you suddenly detach emotionally, people become curious. Human psychology is wired to notice behavioral changes. If someone is used to your attention, your affection, or even your arguments, your sudden calm distance becomes noticeable. They start wondering what changed. Did you lose interest? Did you move on? Did you finally see something they hoped you wouldn't notice? Curiosity creates mental tension. The Stoics practiced emotional discipline because they understood that calm detachment protects the mind. It prevents unnecessary suffering caused by other people's unpredictable behavior. But detachment also sends a powerful message. It communicates that your emotional stability does not depend on their presence. Your happiness continues with or without them. This independence can feel deeply unsettling to someone whose ego expected to remain significant in your life. When people realize they no longer control your emotional state, curiosity quickly turns into self-reflection. And sometimes, that reflection forces them to confront their own behavior. 8. Distance reveals true intentions. When you create distance, people's true intentions become visible. Some individuals only value you when you are available to serve their needs. When your attention disappears, their interest fades quickly because their motivation was never genuine. Others begin to realize the importance of your presence and attempt to reconnect with greater respect. Distance acts like a filter. It separates those who appreciated you from those who merely benefited from you. The Stoics believed we should observe people carefully rather than blindly trusting appearances. Walking away creates the space necessary for clear observation. You begin to see who reaches out, who takes responsibility, and who simply moves on without reflection. This clarity protects you from investing emotional energy in the wrong people. And sometimes the realization that they lost someone valuable can be a difficult lesson for the other person. But Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control how others react. We can only control the standards we live by. Walking away allows truth to reveal itself naturally. 9. Emotional independence is attractive. Confidence rooted in emotional independence is deeply powerful. When someone sees that you are comfortable walking away from situations that compromise your dignity, they recognize strength. Not loud strength, not aggressive strength. Quiet strength. Stoicism teaches that true power lies in mastering yourself rather than trying to control others. Emotional independence communicates that your happiness does not depend on external approval. You are capable of standing alone if necessary. This independence often shifts how others perceive you. People who once underestimated your value begin to question their assumptions. They realize you are not easily replaceable because your self-respect is rare. Walking away demonstrates that you are willing to lose anything that requires you to lose yourself. And paradoxically, that willingness often makes people value you more, because someone who refuses to tolerate disrespect becomes far more difficult to take for granted. 10. Walking away ends manipulation. Manipulation thrives when someone knows they can influence your emotions. If a person can provoke guilt, jealousy, anger, or fear, they can steer your decisions. This subtle control allows manipulative individuals to maintain power without openly dominating the relationship. But manipulation requires participation. Walking away removes that participation. When you refuse to engage in emotional games, the manipulator loses their strategy. Their attempts to provoke reactions suddenly stop working. This is deeply frustrating for someone who relied on emotional control. Stoicism teaches that the best response to manipulation is calm detachment. Instead of reacting impulsively, the Stoic observes the situation clearly and chooses the most dignified response. Often that response is distance. Distance protects your clarity and prevents manipulative cycles from continuing. Once someone realizes they cannot influence your emotions, they either change their behavior or search for someone else to manipulate. Either outcome benefits your peace. 11. Self-mastery is the ultimate power. The Stoics believed that the greatest victory is mastery over oneself. You cannot control how others behave. You cannot force people to respect you, understand you, or appreciate you. But you can control your reactions. Walking away requires discipline. It requires resisting the urge to explain yourself endlessly or fight for validation. It demands that you prioritize self-respect over emotional attachment. This level of self-control is rare. Most people react impulsively when they feel disrespected. They argue, chase closure, or attempt to force someone to recognize their value. The Stoic path is different. Instead of forcing recognition, you quietly remove your presence. You allow time and distance to reveal the truth, and whether the other person regrets their behavior or not becomes irrelevant. Your peace is already restored. Self-mastery means your emotional stability no longer depends on anyone else's behavior. Walking away is often the first step toward achieving that freedom. Walking away is not about revenge. It is not about punishing someone or proving a point. It is about protecting your dignity. Stoicism teaches that your peace, your self-respect, and your character matter more than winning arguments or forcing people to understand your value. When you calmly walk away from disrespect, manipulation, or emotional chaos, you demonstrate something powerful. You show that your standards are stronger than your attachments. And that quiet strength has a strange effect on people. It confuses those who expected you to chase. It humbles those who relied on your attention. And it commands respect from those who understand dignity. Sometimes the most powerful message you can send requires no words at all, just distance. If you want to continue learning how Stoic philosophy can help you develop unshakable confidence, mental clarity, and emotional discipline, make sure you subscribe to this channel. Because the journey toward mastering your life begins with mastering your mind. And Stoicism shows us how.